You're muted.
Yeah, he didn't pick the call, but we will start the program. I will try reaching him because he joined at 11 itself. Okay, good morning. We are live now, and a warm welcome to all the distinguished speakers, participating delegates, and viewers on YouTube at webinar on Rajasthan Handloom 2.0 with the theme Reimagining the Handloom Growth Story in Rajasthan. In fact, the subject is very pertinent because it caters to the tribal, the rural, the women community too, and also it's relevant because besides reviving the ancient crafts that we have to create sustainable and scalable models so that these handlooms can thrive in times to come. And we have an eminent panel of speakers from academia, Export Promotion Council, the Handloom Development Corporation of the state and the country. And we have Dr. Mayaram also, who will be joining in a while. So without taking much of your time, we will start the webinar. And I would request Mr. Randhir Vikram Singh, Co-Chairman FICCI Rajasthan State Council and CMD of Mandawa Hotels, for his welcome remarks. Just a brief introduction that Mr. Randhir Vikram Singh has helped Mandawa and Shekhawati region on the world tourism map and was among the first ones to convert his family-owned castle dating back to 1755 into a heritage tourism property in 1979. In fact, he has championed the cause of heritage tourism, one of the founder members of the Indian Heritage Hotels Association, and right now is the president of Indian Heritage Hotel Association as well as co-chairman of FICCI Rajasthan State Council. So welcome, sir, and over to you.
Thank you, Atul, for your kind words. I don't know if I deserve it or not. Anyway, good morning to everybody. I'd like to extend a very warm welcome. I'll start with Mr. Mayaram, who will be joining us soon. Dr. Arvind Mayaram, Economic Advisor to the Honorable Chief Minister of Rajasthan and Vice Chairman, Rajasthan Economic Transformation and Advisory Council. Ms. Rita, Prem, Hemrajani, Managing Director, National Handloom Development Corporation. Ms. Neha, Giri, Chairman and Managing Director, Rajasthan State Handloom Development Corporation. Ms. Archana, Surana, Founder and Director, Arch College of Design and Business, Jaipur. Dr. Toolika Gupta, Director, Indian Institute of Craft and Design, Jaipur. Mr. Sundar, Joint Director, Handloom Export Promotion Council. Mr. Ranamal Khatri, Master Artisan, Barmer. Ms. Mudrika, Dhoka, Chairperson, Flow, Jaipur, Chapter, Rajasthan. Participating delegates, viewers on the YouTube. I'm delighted to welcome you all on today's webinar on Rajasthan Handloom 2. The handloom sector plays a crucial role in generating employment and revenue. It is one of the few sectors that preserves and promotes Indian culture. Promotion of traditional skills and capabilities by encouraging capacity and skill building, coupled with design, quality, and marketing interventions will not only ensure sustainability of the sector, but also help in reviving the waning skills of the artisans while fostering export. Rajasthan has a rich variety of handloom products in different regions like Kota Doria, tie and dye, block printing, zari, bandage, cotton razais, and khesh, sanganeri, bagru, and barmeri printed prints, etc. We have various success stories also wherein people have helped communities in getting access to skilling, finance, and markets. But the need is to scale up these initiatives. The pandemic, like all other areas, have affected the sector also. We must leverage technology to connect the artisans with national and international buyers. There's also a strong interlink between the tourism and local crafts. Both tangible and intangible heritage would play a significant role in reviving and reclaiming the past glory of tourism in the post-COVID world. It is vital for all stakeholders to undertake measures that would influence fresh energy into this sector. Also, these traditions could become extinct. We need to encourage members of the weaving community, both financially and technologically, to take this traditional sector to higher levels and spread its charm around the world. The sector holds a lot of promises for future, and there is heightened interest and awareness about their use. We at FICCI are committed to making all positive contributions towards helping the handloom sector to grow and realize its true potentials. I'm sure that the deliberations during the webinar would provide a meaningful insight and framework for the future deliberations. Deliverables, sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Just to mention that Dr. Mayaram sir has also joined. Sir, welcome you. And we have just initiated with the welcome remarks. And as Chairman rightly said, there is a strong interlink between the handloom sector and the tourism sector, because the tourist also looks for local crafts, and handloom forms an important component of this. In any case, we have 18th April as the World Heritage Day, and UNESCO also talks about the tangible and intangible heritage of any city to be preserved, and handloom form an important component of this. So with this background, we move to the next speaker, Ms. Neha Giri, who is Chairman and Managing Director of Rajasthan State Handloom Development Corporation. In fact, it was her idea to initiate a dialogue after the pandemic, so that we can do suitable interventions and reclaim and reimagine the growth story for the Rajasthan handloom sector. Just a brief introduction: she is a 2010 batch IAS officer, presently, as mentioned, Chairman and Managing Director of RHDC, and prior to this, she has worked as Registrar of National Law University, Registrar of Sardar Patel University of Police, Security and Criminal Justice, and Collector and District Magistrate of Dholpur, Pratapgarh and Bundi. And she is also a BTech in Electrical Engineering. So welcome you, ma'am, and over to you.
Thank you very much, Atulji. Good afternoon, a very good afternoon to good morning to all the eminent personalities in this webinar who has given their consent and the available time to be in this webinar. I'm very thankful to Atul Sharma ji and co-chairman FICCI Rajasthan State Council and CMD Mandawa Hotels to organize this webinar on Rajasthan Handloom. And I also extend a warm welcome to Arvind Mayaram sir, Rita, Prem, Hemrajani madam, Sundar sir, Ranamal, Khatri, our artisan who has also joined in this webinar, who will also be speaking, Madam Archana Surana, Dr. Toolika Gupta from IICT, and Chairperson, Jaipur Chapter FICCI Ladies Organization, Ms. Mudrika, Dhoka. First of all, as Atulji has already said, that we wanted to organize a webinar, like an out-of-a-box type of a webinar. Since a lot of brainstorming we thought that we need on this sector, and particularly so in Rajasthan, where due to COVID and all across country, a lot of hardships have been faced by the artisans. It's a purely unorganized sector. And in Rajasthan, there are lots of weavers who are associated with this handloom sector. And as already elaborated by the speaker before me, that it is one of the oldest and largest cottage industry. It is also one of the largest employment generating activity in rural area. This most people are not aware of. And right now in Rajasthan, there are more than, as per registration which has happened, the latest registration, there are more than 30,000 weavers that are registered with the State Department, Rajasthan government, and there may be many more. We really think so by with the next survey coming up. And talking about handloom is obviously, as the name suggests, is something which is and it is just defined at any loom other than power loom. So made by it's a hand operated, it's a manually operated loom. Any the product made out by the handloom. And it was basically 3 types of steps, which are shedding, picking, and beating. And in Rajasthan, we have lots of, in fact, even after handloom, there's a block printing which is being done. So a lot of steps are involved before a finished product comes in front of client. And obviously the thread that is used all across Rajasthan, that is also not similar, that is used in different districts. Different type of hand block printing is found, different type of thread is used for these activities. And Rajasthan Handloom plays a vital, Rajasthan Handloom State Development Corporation plays a vital role in this. That as this was established in 1984, a long time back, and this was basically for the promotion of the and welfare of the weavers who are mostly who are not belong to the low economic status, and to promote these their activities, to give them a platform so their products and their own art finds a place in the larger market. And these artisans, they mostly belong to 85% belong to scheduled caste and minority community. So this is also one aspect of this handloom sector, particularly in Rajasthan, which is very specific to Rajasthan. And talking about the handloom corporation activities, we are mostly involved in design development activities, in technological activities related to handloom. We are involved in marketing, distribution of handloom products made by these weavers, and obviously, and also by the various committees that are formed by the weavers. We directly buy from these weavers and sell it to our units, sell it to a different fairs and exhibitions which are held all over across the countries and across the country, and as well as in the state. Whatever has been happening till now, we have seen that this apparel, this textile sector is changing a lot, and these weavers and the role that Handloom Corporation has been playing till date has been not been able to give that type of amount of satisfaction as well as to the weaver, and that type of I would say the income generation has not been at that level which maybe the weaver expected, due to many factors. There were various factors involved in this, and this basically was the primary objective. And we as a corporation, this was our duty, this was our commitment to the weavers, that we'll be providing them a level playing field, even if the sector changes, even if the trend changes, even if the demand, and even if the fashion cycle, which is changing every quarter, every 2-3 months. So my humble request to all the panelists that are present in this webinar is that how we can, though I am speaking as a representative of the Rajasthan Handloom Development Corporation, but keeping all these factors in mind, how we can preserve this, because this is one of the pillars of heritage as we see in Rajasthan. And we already got GI tag for Sanganeri, Bagru, and Kota Doria. So how we can go for more branding and with obviously not big capital investment, because there's scarcity of funds also involved at various level, and there are restrictions also in the way state development agency can function with them. We are thinking of public-private partnership also. We are thinking of how we can upgrade their own equipments with less amount of, which will involve less amount of labor, and which will also save their time, so they can produce in bulk, but obviously not compromising in quality. And how they can be taken at that level, because we have also seen some success stories, the weavers that have been associated with us through our different mechanisms of marketing. Some are, most of them are, we have Padma Shri among us, we have national weavers among us, national awardees among us. So how we can make our weavers and to continue with this tradition, because we have been seeing over the years that the next generation, they don't want to take up this occupation, and they want to go in other fields. So my humble request in this webinar is that how we can, first of all, this handloom, this heritage, which is associated with different states, have its own pattern also, and can be preserved in such a way that it continues, that it's become a self-sustaining phenomena, and as well as giving back to the weavers in a way that they continue with this tradition and take it up to new heights and level, and obviously some branding of some new weavers. So they attain that type of, they feel proud about their heritage, they feel proud about their occupation, and they don't think that it is a dying field now. So this is what I would summarize in that there's lots of opportunities are there, but the threats and challenges are obviously the balance is somewhat, I would say that the threats and challenges are more right now than what are opportunities and what type of efforts we are putting into making these weavers that they remain associated with this field. And so it is my humble request that we brainstorm, and obviously the suggestions, and that because people in this webinar, they are from field level also, and theoretical academicians are also involved in this webinar, and how the state and the national bodies that are for their development, for their welfare of these weavers, how we can come together and work in a coordinated way, so we can have a whole vision we can develop for these weavers, and they attain their lifestyle changes, and they feel proud about their occupation, as well as there is a lot of I would say that they remain also sync with the what the market demand is, and what is the expectation of the buyers that are there, even across, I would say, not even domestic, but obviously foreign. So this is how, this is what my take. It's been only 2.5 months I have joined here. So this is what I've learned about this sector right now. So it's obviously maybe not a very, I would say maybe whatever understanding I've got of this sector, and we have also taken up some activities in this. We organize a show, and we have a design development workshop. We had a one-day design development workshop also. So this is what my take is, and this is what I propose, that we, if we deliberate and we discuss on this issue, so I think we can come up some wonderful suggestions, wonderful ideas, and a way forward for this sector. So how to, and we can also be shown some light that how to move forward and how to have a very self-sustainable plan in this handloom sector. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. In fact, it's during the interactions prior to the webinar also, we have noticed and learned that you have earnest desire to play a transformative role for RSDC, and how this entire sector is integrated with the mainstream economy, demand, marketing, all these things. And I'm sure that we will have some creative ideas that will come during the course of the day. Now we move up to our next speaker, Dr. Toolika Gupta, who is Director of Indian Institute of Craft and Design, Jaipur. Just a brief introduction that she besides being director at IICD, she has taught at NIFT New Delhi as Associate Professor, Center Coordinator for Fashion Design Development. She has taught part-time at NID, NIFT, and Pearl. She is a researcher and educator in the field of clothing, textile, crafts, and design. She has a PhD in History of Arts, Dresses, and Textile from the University of Glasgow, UK, MSc in Textile and Clothing from Lady Irwin College, New Delhi, and has been associated as a PhD Fellow with the Center of Textile Research, Copenhagen, Denmark. And realizing the need of promotion of indigenous research and bringing it closer to the interested people, she, along with many like-minded people, has set up TCRC, Textile and Clothing Research Center, New Delhi in 2016. She is currently also the Secretary of TCRC and Dean Design Skills at Rajasthan ILD Skills University, and an eminent academician. So welcome you, and over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Atulji, thank you for that lovely introduction. And namaskar to all the panel here. Dr. Mayaram, Ms. Rita ji, Mudrika ji, Archana ji, Neha ji, Sundar ji, Randhir ji, or Ranamal Khatri ji. आप सबको मेरा नमस्कार. So I think we have been talking about handlooms in many forums, and we are working in the sector. IICD being a craft institute and a vision of the government of Rajasthan to set up such an institute, I think was a brilliant step to bring crafts into the limelight. I'd like to share a little presentation that I've prepared, and that's largely on business opportunities. So if I may, I'll just, yeah, I think I'm able to share it. Yeah, can you see, please?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know, my screen has become very short. Never mind. So the whole idea behind, the discussion about, see, when we say handloom, we really limit it to something which is just, as you rightly pointed out, shedding, weaving, so on and so forth. But every time we discuss, we talk about block printing. Now, whenever our people are doing block printing, they are not doing it on handloom fabric. Most of the time, the block printing that is done on, power loom or mill-made fabric. So, but because there is an act of hand that is being used, the block printing that is being used, we sort of bring it together and we say that, yes, this is a part of handloom. Now, whether it's handloom or handicraft, for us, these are all very important industries in India and in Rajasthan and of course in India. So I'm taking it a little further and I'm just talking about the Indian craft sector, business opportunities and challenges. If I look at the entire craft sector, and even RHDC, they look at handicraft as a whole and not only handloom, because they talk about block printing, they were talking about zari, they talk about other things which are not really loom, but it is hand embroidery, it is hand block printing, it could be done on a different fabric. So just being an academician, I thought I'll sort of clear this because there are different kinds of fabrics which we are using, to do whether embroidery or printing or multiple kinds of things that we do. And if we look at our craft sector, it is one of the largest sectors in terms of employment and social impact. And that is data which is telling us. It is not that we are just saying that this is the largest sector. It is the largest sector, one of the largest sectors, like agriculture and today information technology. So for decades, industry has served as the backbone of rural economy. It employs a large number of people in rural and semi-urban areas who are skilled craftspeople. And we get a significant amount of foreign exchange, and I have data to prove that this is happening. The handicraft sector has risen dramatically over the years. And for this, we have to thank the government's persistence. And according to Ministry of Textiles, industry has been growing at a constant rate of 20% per year and currently employs 68 lakhs of craftspeople. This is about India I'm talking about. Now, if we look at Rajasthan, in terms of weaving, we know we have Pattu weaving around Barmer. Then we have Panjadari weaving, and we have Kota Doria. These are our three most important woven textiles. Then we have block printing, which is the mainstay of Rajasthan. Everybody comes to Rajasthan for block printing, whether it's Bagadu, whether it's Sanganer, or it is, the newer kinds that are happening. A lot of people have shifted from block printing to screen printing, and screen printing is thriving very well. So I really don't know whether we should be against it or we should be for it, because it is bringing in the cultural exchange, monetary exchange for people. I would say that whatever we do, we should do it ethically. The problem is many a times we are selling screen printed, calling that it is hand block printed. There we have issues, and that is why people really don't want to come back. These kind of things do happen. Now, looking at the statistics, because I said I have statistics to prove what I'm saying. So in the financial year 2021, handicraft export from India, various segments is below. And this is the source, this I've sourced from EPCH. And we can see woodware, and Rajasthan has a lot of woodwork, the furniture that comes from Rajasthan. So woodware exports from India, in 21, when we were talking about COVID and everything, they stand at US $845 million. And I'm sure this is from EPCH. So then embroidered and crochet goods, it comes to $604 million US dollars. Art, metalware, Again, we can see some $460 million plus. Then hand printed textiles, scarves at about 339, we could say $340 million. Imitation jewelry, $186 million. And miscellaneous Indian handicrafts put together under $826 million. Now we have, what we see here is a huge amount of business opportunity. Unfortunately, sometimes what happens is in supporting craftsmen, the right kind of support does not go. I think two major support is needed. One is design intervention. The other is market intervention. Another support that is needed, as ma'am, Neha Giri was talking about, that a lot of support is being given, but still, sometimes we find that, okay, what is the best way? So I think market support and design support, because if the designs are unique, if designs are good, people are willing to buy. And if they are visible, if people know about them, which is the market support. So when that market support comes and design support comes, that is the time when, our handicrafts do really well. And another thing is technology support and innovation. I have not put it here in this presentation, but at IICD, we are working also towards innovation in the craft sector by utilizing different kinds of materials, using the same skills. And as ma'am was rightly pointing out just now, that, a lot of youngsters don't want to come into the craft sector. But I can tell you that slowly when we talk to them, when we encourage them, they are, and when they understand the value of this, it takes time for them. Because जब मैंने बात करी कारीगरों के बच्चों से, पॉटर्स के बच्चों से, तो वो स्विगी का स्कूटर चला के ज्यादा खुश हैं बजाय अपना काम करने के, because they get a decent amount of salary, गार्ड बनने को तैयार हैं, ड्राइवर बनने को तैयार हैं. But when you tell them, please understand, there is something called job and there is something called career. So job versus career, you will get some 10,000 rupees right now. That will not last you lifelong. All you can see right now is you have a scooter, you can take a girlfriend all around and you can have fun, but that is not the future. So if you have to think about future, your father has been doing an amazing business. Why can't you step that up? So institutes like IICD, I think, are very important, where we are studying only crafts, where we are working around the craft industry to build the strength of craft, whether it is in clothing, which we call fashion, whether it is in pottery, or any kind of product. So I think institutes need to really focus on crafts, need to focus on innovation in crafts, need to give design interventions for the domestic market and for the export market, and avenues for marketing. And like I said, we do have this source. And I can tell you, a few days ago, Deputy Ambassador of France was here, Madame Dana. And with her, I went to a few block printers' house and to show her block printing. And she said, oh, you must have suffered terribly during pandemic. And they said, no, we were very happy during pandemic. We had lots of orders. So she was quite taken aback. She said, but, it seems that if people were... So everything is happening. Good things are happening. Not so good things are happening. So I think it's always good to work with statistics and data. And what we see here right now is that Indian handicrafts are exported across geographies with top 10 destinations. These only I've listed top 10. This is based on EPCH again, because we're talking about exports. And the top 10 destinations are America, United Kingdom, Arab Emirates, Germany, France, Latin American countries, Italy, Netherlands, Canada, and Australia. And we have huge exports. And why is this possible? Because the kind of work that we do is very unique. It is handcrafted and people love that kind of work. Plus we have Indians across the world who appreciate Indian handicrafts. So I think keeping this in mind, if we give, avenues. So here I have case studies. I know we don't have too much time, but I'm just quickly going to go through. If anybody's interested, they can go to websites to check these case studies. If you look at 3 websites which sell crafts like Itokri, Rangasutra, and Industry. Now here you will see a lot of Rajasthan handicrafts which are being sold. So if you go to Itokri, you can see what is their concept. How do they, what are the challenges that Itokri is facing? Now the challenges are that there is no fixed price for craft. Now that's a challenge. Now if we have to work around challenges, Karigar will give you something for 100 rupees, the same thing they will give to somebody else for 200 rupees. So there is no standardization of prices. And that is why this becomes an enemy in itself for people wanting to buy the products. This is a huge challenge. Sourcing, similar kind of, we don't want things to be exactly same, but at least quality management. All these things are important. And I think when people take craft sector seriously, right now, when you talk to people, people say art and craft. They think craft is some sort of, time pass, which is not. Craft is an industry. It is just that it is not mechanized to the level the way industry is mechanized, and it's not mass producing things. Each product is unique. So if we go to these websites and we see, I buy regularly from these websites, I also gift to people from these websites, excellent products come because there's a quality check. And Itokri, they sell everything, all different kinds of, this is from their website. And there's a lot from Rajasthan which they buy. And the beauty is they write the name of the karigar, that I'm buying from this karigar. So there is this kind of transparency that is coming in. And because of this, people love to buy from these kind of thing, these kind of websites. I'll quickly scroll through. Industry is another such website. It's a non-for-profit company, whereas Itokri is a for-profit company. It's business. And then, of course, we have Rangasutra. Rangasutra has been doing so well. It is in Rajasthan and they're supplying to IKEA and other places. So it is all about how we look at craftspeople, how we train them to improve quality and to give them design interventions, design inputs. Right now, IICD has done in the past year at least 3 workshops with different kinds of artisans with funding from SBI Cap Securities. They gave us funds. We planned for these different kinds of incubation or training the artisans. And I think the results are really, really nice. And this is a paper that I had written on employment and entrepreneurship opportunities. It is available online. And if somebody is interested, they can read it. So that's it. Thank you. I don't want to take too much time, but I hope I'm able to put my message across, where what I'm trying to say is we need to preserve our cultural heritage, intangible cultural heritage, as Atulji mentioned just now, that UNESCO is working around it. So I would be happy to say, share here that UNESCO and Rajasthan tourism together are working on a project in Rajasthan on Rajasthan intangible cultural heritage. And luckily, I was chosen as a jury for the program, that how has 1 year worked and how has it impacted. And when I visited, I could see the opportunities of tourism, see the opportunities of craft tourism there. And I think ours is the only state that has a craft institute. So I think there's a lot of potential, right kind of investment in terms of manpower, right kind of people, and good design intervention, marketing intervention, and technology upgradation will definitely help our artisans to leap forward in the future. The younger generation will also stay connected, because when we invite the artisans to teach our students, the younger generation sees that their parents are respected, they are paid well. Till we keep arguing and asking the craftsperson to reduce the price, until we do not respect crafts will not go up. So we really will have to respect that. We have to work around it. And I think I personally see a very bright future for Rajasthan handlooms and handicrafts. With that, I'd like to take leave. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Toolika ji. In fact, quite a comprehensive presentation in the limited time that we had. And I think we will continue the discussion after this webinar also, because a lot of good insight about making the things aspirational for the next generation, and how design, marketing, and technological interventions can make it a more sustainable kind of venture than just talking about preserving the thing. And moving on to our next speaker, Ms. Archana Surana, who is founder and director of Arch College of Design and Business, Jaipur. In fact, she is a design educator, mentor, and social entrepreneur with 28 years of experience in innovating in design education. She successfully carries forward the legacy of 22 years as the founder and director of Arch College of Design and Business. And she has established vital pathways in specialized streams of design education by imparting undergraduate and postgraduate level programs with international and national certification. Design Culture Initiative, in her mission to harness the power of designing among the spirits of the creative and innovative domain, enabling them to become design leaders. She is Chairperson Design Culture Big City Design Conference 2022 and a member of very many national and international forums. So welcome you and over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Atulji. So very interesting, pointers Ma'am Neha has already put up in terms of Rajasthan and where it stands. And Toolika ma'am has covered it more from the craft perspective and how our cultural heritage is important here. I have, I'm going to keep it to certain suggestions, which probably Ma'am Neha is looking at, because we are very important stakeholders in this whole value chain. The education industry, I mean, I'd say the word industry because we are large. And right from the school education system to the higher education system and research-led education system, there are three levels where probably there's a lot of possibility that needs to be, I said encashed, I'd say that word. And while ma'am said that, there are around 30,000 weavers in Rajasthan, and there is a minority sector around 85%, which is into it. And as a nation, I think we are contributing to 7% of India's manufacturing output and 2% of the GDP. Now, these are some very interesting data points. And I feel that strongly, if you look at the education scenario, and then we have the government and we have the industry. So if these are three important stakeholders, the consumer definitely is there. The country is large. We have a vast population. We have a great consumer base. The whole world is coming to us to sell. Why can't we sell our own products in our own country? Now, what is important here is the mobilization in the youth. Who is the youth today? The youth is not who's already shaped up. The youth is in the schools. Now, the school, I am a part of the CBSE Skills Committee. And within the skills education framework, from 6th until 12th class, the CBSE has introduced skill education as a very important aspect now. And I have been meeting a lot of school principals and looking at what kind of skills need to be taken into the school education system. Now, if you look at weaving is something that's, it has a great amount of, in terms of learning, in terms of your development, the cognitive development, it has a great role to play. And if looms could be set up in schools and this kind of a skill can be taught, I think the appreciation for textiles and handmade fabrics will grow much, much faster. It is our people who have to embrace this first. While exports are large, and we are seeing that the number is almost like 12% of our GDP come from the exports of handlooms. It's a big, big number. And we have more potential here in this area. So this is one area where I felt that the survival of the skill and the heritage is only when it has meaning for the present. And the meaning will only come when people can value it, they can feel it, they can sense it. In design, sense and sensitivity is very, very key. And when you touch a fabric, handloom fabric, there is consciousness. We talk about conscious clothing today. I mean, are we being able to brand our handlooms as conscious clothing? And that's very, very key. And I feel that the youth needs to embrace first and understand the importance of handloom. So that's an opportunity to connect with CBSE and the Rajasthan board and see how the school education can build it inside the skills framework, number one. As far as I'm a design educator and I started with humble beginnings, and so I know what it takes to actually, build a design culture. Now, design intervention is very, very key when it comes to looking at handlooms. So recently, because I was born in Kuchbihar district of Mathabhanga, so I was in Nishiganj and I picked up a sari for 200 rupees there and wear it with much beauty and grace. And if I went to a showroom, I would pick up the same sari for 2,500, which means the aspirational value for handlooms is there. So when I went there, it was completely dark, andhera tha bilkul. lot of shady space in terms of where they were working. Wasn't enough hygiene. And can you imagine if he sold me for 200? What is the earning of that person? Now, this is where we need to look at, probably if you have a database of 30,000 people, I think there has to be a need assessment at a deeper level to understand what are their needs at a deeper level. And then probably, there has to be a model where we can support these clusters. And can the government look at developing handloom parks rather than looking at only apparel parks or textile parks? Because handloom parks would really bring a lot of, new age entrepreneurs to get into the handloom sector. When I am looking at a lot of young people today who are designers, they are talking about SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. वहीं हमारे मोदी जी ने आत्मनिर्भर भारत को दिया है, मैंडेट दिया है. So यहाँ पर हमारे डेमोग्राफिक डिविडेंड, जिसको हम डिविडेंड बोलते हैं, लेकिन डिविडेंड कब बनेगा? जब ये हमारे उसमें हम उसको यूज कर पाएंगे. अभी तक तो हमारे पास डेमोग्राफी है, उसको डिविडेंड बनाने की हमारी बारी है. So where I feel it's very important that डिजाइन इंस्टीट्यूशंस के साथ में क्लोजली इन्वेस्ट करने की जरूरत है. सो व्हेनेवर वी गो टू द गवर्नमेंट चाहता है हम सब काम उनके लिए फ्री करके दे दें, है ना, हम उनके लिए कपड़े भी बना दें, हम ये भी काम कर दें, वो भी करते हैं, सब काम हम फ्री करके दे दें उनको लिए. सो गवर्नमेंट जहां इन्वेस्ट कर रही है, उनको अपना इन्वेस्टमेंट इंस्टीट्यूशंस के साथ करना चाहिए जहां यूथ है. इंस्टीट्यूशंस प्राइड फील करती है कि वो गवर्नमेंट के साथ काम कर रही है और कम्युनिटी के साथ काम कर रही है, तो इंस्टीट्यूशंस अपने आप उसको पब्लिसाइज करेगी, वो उसे मार्केट करेगी. एंड हम जो लोग हैं जो समझते हैं, वो जब तक उसको एम्ब्रेस नहीं करेंगे, जबकि डिजाइन एजुकेशन ज्यादातर पाश्चात्य परंपरा के ऊपर में हिंदुस्तान में बना था, लेकिन IICD, निफ्ट, NID जैसे संस्थाओं ने बहुत गहरा काम किया है ताकि क्राफ्ट के साथ जुड़ाव बने. और आर्ट्स में जब मैं कहूंगी तो अगर मैं इस डिजाइन के क्षेत्र में हूं तो मेरे हैंडलूम के प्रेम की वजह से. सो अगर मैं डिजाइन में होती ही नहीं, अगर मैं हैंडलूम्स के प्रति क्योंकि मैं बचपन से मेलों में जाती थी, सूरजकुंड में के मेले में जाती थी, INA में जाती थी, तो एक्सपोजर ट्रिप्स जहां हम इंडस्ट्री की कराते हैं, वहां हमें मेलों की एक्सपोजर ट्रिप्स करवाने के लिए बहुत बड़ा प्रोत्साहन स्कूल और कॉलेजेस के साथ में रखने की जरूरत है. इस तरह का अगर हम यूथ को मोबिलाइज करेंगे तो हमारा कंजम्पशन बढ़ेगा, हमारे जो उपभोक्ता है वो बढ़ेंगे, द कंज्यूमर बेस विल ग्रो. सो दैट्स वेयर आई फेल. रिसर्च के लेवल पर काम करने की जरूरत है. न्यू फाइबर एक्सट्रैक्शंस हो रहे हैं, ब्लेंडेड यार्न्स बनने लग रहे हैं हैंडलूम के अंदर में भी. ये एक बहुत नई पॉसिबिलिटी है टू हैव दैट न्यूनेस, बिकॉज एवरीबडी इज लुकिंग एट दैट न्यू थिंग, राइट. जहां हम टेक्नोलॉजी की बात करते हैं, टेक्नोलॉजी इंटेंशन के साथ जुड़ी हुई है. पहला इंटेंशन हो तो हमारे पास में अप्लाइड टेक्नोलॉजी मिल जाएगी हमें उसके लिए. तो ये जरूरी है कि हम रिसर्च के लेवल पर हमारा फोकस गवर्नमेंट का बढ़ाएं इस क्षेत्र के अंदर में, तो बहुत संभावना आगे बढ़ सकती है. जहां तक इंडस्ट्री को सपोर्ट करने की बात है, तो जब हम हैंडलूम पार्क्स क्रिएट करेंगे तो बहुत सारे एंटरप्रेन्योर्स हैं, एंड आई सी लॉट ऑफ यंग डिजाइनर्स. आजकल कोई बहुत बड़े स्तर पे काम नहीं करना चाहता, बिकॉज दे नो बिग फंड्स आर रिक्वायर्ड. सब चाहते हैं कि छोटे रूप में काम शुरू करें, यूनिक अपने ब्रांड्स क्रिएट करें, यूनिकनेस के साथ में मार्केट प्लेस में उतरे. सोशल मीडिया बहुत बड़ा मार्केट प्लेस है आज की तारीख में. तो हमारा ये मानना है कि भाई अगर हमको इंडस्ट्री को सपोर्ट करना है तो हमें माइक्रो लेवल पर जाकर के इंडस्ट्री को सपोर्ट करनी चाहिए. एंड वो माइक्रो जिसको हम आज की तरह एटलीस्ट दे विल बी ऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर तो होंगे कम से कम, एंड वो हमारे ये जो हैंडलूम वीवर्स वगैरह है, इन सबके साथ जुड़ के काम करेंगे. बिकॉज अ डिजाइनर डज नॉट वर्क इन आइसोलेशन, they work closely with the hands, and the hands are these people. The art lies with the people, it's not with the designer. The designer has the mind to know what is the application of it, where it will be relevant, who's the consumer, and what would they love. They know what trends are, they know what trend setting is, and this is where they have the proficiency in. So मेरा ये मानना है कि ये कुछ एरियाज हैं जहां पर हमें काम करने की जरूरत है. अगर हम देखें तो आज की तारीख में डिजिटल एसेट क्रिएशन बहुत बड़े रूप में हो रहा है, NFTs क्रिएट हो रहे हैं. तो मेरा ये मानना है कि हमारे कंट्री को, हमारे अलग अलग स्टेट के हैंडलूम्स को क्या हम डिजिटल एसेट्स का रूप दे सकते हैं क्या? ये एक बहुत बड़ी पॉसिबिलिटी है जिसे हमें एक्सप्लोर करने की जरूरत है, बिकॉज देयर इज लॉट ऑफ मनी इन दिस वे। एंड जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कि भाई हमने क्रिएटिव डिग्निटी करके एक प्रोजेक्ट है, उसके साथ में हमने पूरे लॉकडाउन के दौरान क्राफ्ट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन किया था और साथ में हम लोगों ने कैटलॉगिंग करवाई थी। तो जो इनके पास सामान पड़ा रहता है उसे बेचने लायक और ई कॉमर्स प्लेटफॉर्म के लिए रेडी करने के लिए इनको कैटलॉगिंग की जरूरत होती है। दैट्स एन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एरिया टू वर्क अपॉन। एंड जहां तक मैम आपने कहा था कि फार्म और नॉन फार्म एक्टिविटी दोनों पैरेलल एक्टिविटी की तरह चलते हैं हमारी कंट्री में, वहां हमारा क्राफ्ट वीविंग ट्रेडिशन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंस रखता है, क्योंकि जब फार्मिंग का टाइम नहीं होता तो ये वाली एक्टिविटी में उनका सारा समय जाता है। तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हमारा लाइवलीहुड का तरीका है। तो लाइवलीहुड्स की जब हम बात करते हैं तो गांवों में हम कितने लोगों को चाहते हैं कि सब मैकेनाइज्ड हो जाए, सारे शहरों की तरफ भागे, सारे शहरों में आके काम करें, ये हमारा उद्देश्य नहीं है। तो हमें जरूरी है कि ये फार्म और नॉन फार्म की एक्टिविटी को स्ट्रेंथन करने के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से हमें जो जैसे मान लीजिए आप डॉक्टर्स जाते वैसे इंस्टीट्यूशंस को साथ में जोड़े। लोकल इंस्टीट्यूशंस है वहां पे, हर क्षेत्र में आपको हायर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस मिल जाएंगे, कॉलेजेस हैं, उनके साथ में हमको स्किल को जोड़ने की बहुत बहुत जरूरत है। तभी जाकर के हम हमारी धरोहर को बचा पाएंगे। और धरोहर का कोई मतलब नहीं है अगर उससे नई जनरेशन ने अडॉप्ट नहीं किया, वो धरोहर खत्म होते ज्यादा समय नहीं लगेगा। सो हम फिर उसी तरीके से आज फॉरेन कंट्रीज में अगर आप देखेंगे, वी हैव न्यू जनरेशन क्राफ्ट्समैन, राइट? वहां पर डिजाइनर्स आर द क्राफ्ट्समैन, दे लर्न द स्किल, द अप्रेंटिस करते हैं, वो जो जिस तरह से पूरा सीखते हैं। अगर आप वहां के डिजाइन स्कूल्स में देखेंगे तो क्लास 6 से लेकर के आगे तक का पूरा क्रम चलता है कि वो एक नया क्राफ्ट सीख रहे हैं। हमारे पास तो लोग कहते हैं डायनासोर्स एग्जिस्ट करते हैं, हमारे यहाँ पे क्राफ्ट ट्रेडिशन एग्जिस्ट करता है, हमारे क्राफ्ट्समैन अभी तक एग्जिस्ट कर रहे हैं। ये बहुत बड़ी हमारे लिए संपदा है। तो मेरा ये मानना है कि यूथ को जोड़ना और साथ में रिसर्च के लेवल पर इंटरवेंशन रखना, और इसी तरीके से हम मार्केट प्लेस अपने आप नेचुरली ढूंढ पाएंगे। और जो डिग्निटी है, जहां पे लोग चाहेंगे कि हम इस ट्रेड में रहें, वो तभी रहेंगे जब उन्हें देखेगा कि यूथ इनके साथ जुड़ रहा है, जब वो ये देखेंगे कि इसके उपभोक्ता है, इसके कंज्यूमर्स हैं, तभी वो इस ट्रेड के साथ जुड़े रहेंगे। नहीं तो पीपल विल फॉल बैक ऑन अदर प्रोफेशंस। So that's where I have my view. And at Arch College हमारा, आप लोग कभी भी आइए, आप देखिए हम जिस तरीके से हमारी संपदा को, हेरिटेज को, हम डिजाइन कल्चर की बात करते हैं, क्योंकि ट्रेडिशन हमारे पास है लेकिन हमारे पास डिजाइन का कल्चर नहीं है। उसको स्कूल्स तक ले जाना, प्रिंसिपल्स तक ले जाना, टीचर्स तक ले जाना, स्टूडेंट्स तक ले जाना, एजुकेशन सिस्टम में उसको इम्बेड करवाना, मतलब ये बहुत जरूरी है कि डिजाइन को बहुत पाश्चात्य नजरों से देखा जाता है। इंडिया को जरूरत है कि डिजाइन की अपनी शैली क्रिएट करे, और वहीं पर ही हमारे हैंडलूम्स का भी ग्रोथ होगा, हमारे हैंडीक्राफ्ट्स का ग्रोथ होगा। थैंक यू सो मच फॉर हैविंग मी ओवर एंड गेटिंग मी टू स्पीक ऑन दिस टॉपिक।
Thank you, Archana ji. In fact, lot of good ideas have come, and this will probably not end with this webinar. We'll continue engaging with this group, and we will seek your help and intervention and support and partnership wherever required to take this idea forward. Thank you. And now, after listening to the government, to the academicians, now we'll come to the master artisan himself. We have with us Mr. Ranamal Khatri from Barmer, and in fact, he belongs to a community that has migrated from Pakistan after partition, and has kept the Ajrak tradition alive, and brought in a lot of interventions in that area. The influence of regional resources like raw material, language, topography, and the user community influence have resulted in an Ajrak culture which is distinct from the Kutch and Sindh Ajrak. So there has been some local customization that have happened over the years, and we welcome Ranamal ji. और अब आपसे सुनना चाहेंगे कि आपके क्या सुझाव हैं इस बारे में। रानामल जी, आपका म्यूट है, पहले अनम्यूट करना होगा आपको।
हेलो,
हाँ, आ रही है, आपकी आवाज आ रही है, प्लीज।
सभी पैनलिस्ट को मेरा सादर प्रणाम। मैं रानामल खत्री, राजस्थान की मरुभूमि के उस क्षेत्र से आता हूँ जहाँ पे मानसून का कतई मेहरबानी नहीं है, ज्यादातर अकाल पड़ते हैं। और हम लोग, हमारे पूर्वजों ने अजरक प्रिंटिंग को इजाद किया, जिसमें मनुष्य की रसोई से संबंधित कोई चीज उपयोग में नहीं आती। सारी ऐसी चीजें उपयोग में आती है जो आम जीवन में उपयोग नहीं आती, जैसे ऊंट का गोबर है, बबूल का गोंद है, चूना, मिट्टी, फिटकड़ी, सोडा, खार वगैरह ऐसी चीजें उपयोग में आती है, लोहे का जंग। और सारी प्राकृतिक चीजों से ऐसे वस्त्र तैयार किए जाते हैं जो सदियों से निर्यात हो रहे हैं। पहले अरब कंट्री में जाते थे, फिर शान सिंध अजरक कहलाई, और अभी फैशन और एक्सपोर्ट के लिए अजरक बन रही है वर्तमान में। और राजस्थान सरकार के हैंडलूम डिपार्टमेंट ने, RHDC ने कई प्रकार के मेले और
मुझे लगता है रानामल जी आप अजरक ही पहने हुए हैं, शायद अजरक ही पहना है।
जी हाँ, अजरक ही पहना है। अजरक शब्द अरबी है, तो ज्यादातर पहले सारा सामान ये जो व्यापारी थे काफिले के द्वारा अरब की तरफ निर्यात होता था। और जब ये राजनीतिक सीमाएं बन गई तो सिंध के जो सिंधी मुसलमान है वो पहनने लगे। और उसके बाद में जब राजनीतिक पार्टीशन हो गया तो हम लोग सिंध से राजस्थान के पश्चिम हिस्से में बसे। और 50 के दशक में बाड़मेर में रंगाई छपाई करने वाले 350 परिवार थे, जो आज 75 वर्ष बाद में करते करते 10-12 परिवारों पे आके रुक गया है। इसको संवर्धन करने के लिए स्कूल के बच्चों को ही शिक्षा दी जाए कि भाई अपने राजस्थान की क्या क्या कलाएं हैं और उनको उपयोग में कैसे लेके इनको बचाया जा सकता है। तो जितने भी बच्चे पढ़ रहे हैं सबको नौकरी करनी है। अपनी कलाओं का संरक्षण करने के लिए किसी को कोई ज्यादा मोटिवेशन नहीं दिया जा रहा है। तो इस सिलसिले में यदि बच्चों को ही ऐसे, जहाँ पे कलाएं बनती है, कारीगर लोग काम करते हैं, बच्चों का विजिट ऐसे क्षेत्रों में कराया जाए तो उन बच्चों के दिमाग में एक प्रभाव पड़ेगा कि देखिए कैसे मेहनत से ये लोग बनाते हैं और इनका सदुपयोग कैसे घरों में, आम जीवन में किया जा सके। वर्तमान में अजरक प्रिंटिंग बड़ी बड़ी मॉल कल्चर में लोग काम में ले रहे हैं। फैशन में भी हाई लेवल पे साड़ी, दुपट्टा, स्टोल, बेडशीट्स ये बन रही है। अजरक प्रिंट को रिवाइव करने के लिए मैं 2 बार पाकिस्तान भी जाके आया, ताकि पहले जमाने में क्या क्या चीजें बनती थी और आज क्या क्या आइटम नहीं बन रहे हैं, वहां से पुराने ब्लॉक्स वगैरह खरीद के ले आए। जो मिट्टी के ब्लॉक हुआ करते थे उनसे जाजम, हलारी बेडशीट्स और लहंगे चोली के कपड़े वगैरह बनते थे, उनको वर्तमान में हमने साड़ी और 3 पीस सूट्स में डेवलप किया है, जिसकी मांग बाजार में अच्छी है। राजस्थान हैंडलूम डेवलपमेंट कॉर्पोरेशन RHDC ने हमें कई प्रकार के मेला और प्रदर्शनों में भाग लेने के लिए आमंत्रित किया, वहाँ जगह भी दी और वहाँ पे हम बेस्ट सेलर के रूप में उभरे। इस प्रकार अजरक का हमने प्रदर्शन किया।
धन्यवाद रानामल जी। कुछ सुझाव है आपका कि हो गया?
जी, इसमें वर्तमान में ऐसे डिजाइन और पैटर्न तैयार किए जाएं और ऐसे मार्केटिंग की जाए जिसको नए उत्पाद बना के साड़ी, दुपट्टे, स्टॉल्स और पोलो टेक्निक कॉलेज जहाँ पे चल रहे हैं वहां पे भी ये पोलो टेक्निकल टाइप कॉलेजों में जहाँ पे बच्चों को पेंटिंग, डेंटिंग, इलेक्ट्रिक वगैरह के कार्य सिखाए जाते हैं, उसी प्रकार से यदि रंगाई छपाई और कला के क्षेत्र भी उनको शिक्षा दी जाए तो लोगों का रोजगार के प्रति उत्थान, उनका मानस बढ़ेगा और वो लोग अपना रुझान उस तरफ ले जाएंगे और इस कला को बढ़ावा मिल सकता है।
धन्यवाद, धन्यवाद रानामल जी।
एक जी इसमें मैं थोड़ा इंटरप्ट करना चाहूंगी बाय एवरीबॉडीज परमिशन। रनामल जी से एक हमारी चर्चा हुई थी रिगार्डिंग वहां पर बहुत सारे पार्क स्थापित हैं, क्योंकि मैडम भी यहाँ पर है, रीता मैडम हैज आल्सो जॉइंड और एक्सपोर्ट प्रमोशन काउंसिल के भी हमारे यहाँ पर जॉइंट डायरेक्टर हैं। तो ये मैं बताना चाहूंगी कि वहां पे पार्क स्थापित काफी हमारे जोधपुर और बाड़मेर में होते हैं। तो कुछ मेरी इनसे चर्चा भी हुई थी रानामल जी से कि हम क्यों नहीं, क्योंकि इट टेक्स 7 years टू गिव सिटीजनशिप टू एनीबॉडी, उसके बाद ही फिर ये लोग एक ऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर में काम करना और ये सब एक नॉर्मल सिटीजन की तरह हर जगह डॉक्यूमेंटेशन और सबको जो चाहिए किसी जॉब में, किसी ऑक्यूपेशन में, उसके बाद ही आवेदन कर पाते हैं। तो हमारा इनसे एक ये प्रपोज प्लान था कि क्यों नहीं उन पाक विस्थापितों को, क्योंकि वो वहीं से आए हैं, वहां की शैली वो जानते हैं, खासकर इन्हीं के प्रदेश से आए हैं जहाँ इनके पूर्वज जहाँ रहते थे वहीं से आए हैं। तो एक वो भी इनके साथ चर्चा चल रही है अगर स्टेट गवर्नमेंट से, और हम ये मैम भी है यहाँ पे, आई विल रिक्वेस्ट मैम आल्सो दैट वील मे बी सबमिटिंग अ प्रपोजल इन दिस रिगार्ड मैम, कि वहां पे जो हमारे पाक विस्थापित के बहुत सारे लोग हैं और उनके पास अभी कोई कमाने का कोई जरिया नहीं है, तो हम उनको एक ट्रेनिंग देके और इसी अजरक में ही क्या फिनिश प्रोडक्ट बना के किस तरीके से हम मार्केटिंग और किस तरीके से उसको हम कर सके, A to Z, मतलब बेसिकली एक मार्केट ट्रेनिंग से लेके मार्केट लिंकेजेस तक, अश्योर्ड बाय तक। तो हम एक प्रोजेक्ट पे काम कर रहे हैं, आशा है उस पर हम सारे फाइन ट्यूनिंग करके और एक प्लान हम सबमिट कर पाएंगे। तो मैम ये भी एक हमारी चर्चा एक चल रही है। सो वी विल बी नीडिंग सपोर्ट एक्टिंडिशिया से भी, बिकॉज तुलिका मैडम यहाँ पे है, अर्चना जी भी यहाँ पर है, सो दे कैन हेल्प अस टू फाइन ट्यून दैट प्रोग्राम। मैम ये भी एक है, एंड ही हैज बीन वेरी forthcoming in this. In fact, when we were talking to weavers की हमारे साथ आए बैठे, तो इनको थोड़ी झिझक हेजिटेशन तो होती है। आई सेड कि आप आए, अपनी बात साफ तरीके से रखें, एंटी गवर्नमेंट प्रो गवर्नमेंट वाली कोई बात नहीं होती है, बट जो चैलेंजेस और अपॉर्चुनिटीज हैं या थ्रेट्स हैं वो जमीनी लोग अगर हमें बताएंगे तो एक ओवरऑल एक होलिस्टिक प्लान बन सकता है, फुल प्रूफ, मतलब नियरेस्ट टू द फुल प्रूफ एक हम प्लान बना सकते हैं। तो मैम दिस इज माय हम्बल सबमिशन। थैंक यू।
मैं भी एक समस्या और सुझाव बताना चाह रहा था। वर्तमान नई पीढ़ी जो है वो कला के क्षेत्र में, कला के उत्पादन क्षेत्र में इंटरेस्टेड नहीं है, ये एक समस्या है। और जो आप पाक विस्थापितों की बात कर रहे हैं, जो बेरोजगारी की समस्या है, उसमें यदि ऐसा क्लस्टर प्रोजेक्ट बना के इन लोगों को ट्रेनिंग दी जाए जो अभी रोजी रोटी की तलाश में है, तो प्रिंटिंग का जो काम है वो तुरंत सीख के लाइवलीहुड, उनको रोजगार मिल सकता है, बहुत सरलता से मिल सकता है। फिर जब वो इंटरेस्ट लेके काम करेंगे तो फिर उत्पादन के क्षेत्र में भी वो आ सकते हैं और अपना काम, अपना कारोबार खड़ा कर सकते हैं। पर एक चलते वर्कशॉप में काम करके वो घंटे के लगभग 100 रुपए कमाना आसान है, आसानी से 100 रुपए कमा सकते हैं। और काम सीखने में भी कोई ज्यादा ऐसी बात नहीं है, लगभग 40-50 दिन में एक साधारण आदमी काम सीख सकता है। तो मैं ये चाहूंगा कि यदि ऐसा एक क्लस्टर योजना बना के लोगों को काम सिखाया जाए और उसी उत्पाद को बाजार में बेचने से सरलता हो जाएगी। जो वर्तमान में हैंड प्रिंटर और आज की कलाओं को हैंडलूम चलाने वाले वगैरह लोग नहीं है।
थैंक यू रानामल जी। आपका सुझाव जो पहले से चल रहे हैं उन्हीं के कंटिन्यूएशन में ऐड कर रहे हैं एक तरह से। एंड जस्ट अ स्मॉल मेंशन दैट वी आर स्लाइटली रनिंग लेट बाय 10 minutes, so I would request the speakers to just adhere to the stipulated time. And now I would request Mr. M. Sundar, who is Joint Director at Handloom Export Promotion Council, and he is alumnus of Anna University and doctorate in textile technology with triple post graduation in technology management and public administration. With over 35 years of rich experience in entire textile value chain, prior to joining Handloom Export Promotion Council, Mr. Sundar was Chief Executive Officer at Voltec Group. The highlight of his career has been contribution to nurturing the Indian textile exports, especially handloom segment, to major international market. He has rich experience of working in export trade in both his cadre and the various corporate entities, spanning across his vast industrial exposure. This includes his longest stint with the Japanese MNC Sumitomo Corporation and French MNC Bureau Veritas. And right now he's interested in developing 3D fabrics using handloom techniques for the highly advanced aerospace and medical textile areas. And he has published various articles on innovative textiles and its application. So welcome, Dr. Sundar, and over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the introduction. And thank you, dignitaries. And first of all, thank you very much for the organizing such a wonderful seminar for disseminating the importance of handlooms and handicrafts especially from a rich cultural state like Rajasthan. And on behalf of Handloom Export Promotion Council, under the aegis of Development Commissioner, Handlooms, Ministry of Textile, Government of India, we are very much thankful for the organizing this seminar for disseminating the various schemes available with the ministry and various opportunities available for the welfare of the handlooms artisans all across India. And first of all, if you permit, I'll just have a small 5 slides, and then let me just finish in 10 or 15 minutes. Then maybe we can have a small question and answer session. And let me just share my PPT. Is it visible? Is it visible?
Yeah, it's visible. Please go ahead.
Right.
Just a small request to keep it within 10 minutes, please.
Right. See, basically, everyone aware of this Handloom Export Promotion Council is started during 1965 with a headquarters in Chennai and regional office at Delhi and various other pan-India states. As of now, we have registered exporters more than 1,500 people. And starting from 1 crore to 100 crore exporters are all with us. And the key objective of our organization is to support, protect, maintain, and increase the handlooms business from India to the global market. And we normally undertake around 20 to 30 international fair in the major global market, global countries for the welfare of the exporters with a subsidy part of more than 50-60%. And maybe for the last 2 years, we couldn't able to organize physical show, but we have conducted more than about 12 virtual events during this 18 months pandemic period. Also, we do trade delegation and buyer seller meet, RBSM, reverse buyer seller meet, and various seminars all across India. And also, we are responsible for disseminating the various Government of India trade policies across the exporters community. And we also collect information from the exporters. And we are basically an intermediary between the ministry and the industry. And coming back to Rajasthan, a very rich cultural state. When we talk about, the earlier speakers also have pointed out the opportunities available in terms of increasing the export of both the handicrafts and handloom. And Rajasthan is one such a state where handlooms as well as handicrafts is available for commercial exploitation. What I can say, commercial promotion or opportunities. So along with these handlooms and handicrafts, the other ecotourism, or like we can say tourism also can be clubbed, and then there are a lot of opportunity for India getting foreign exchange in various methodology is available. And HEPC is also interested, along with other Organization of Development Commissioner like WSC and NSDC, in promoting an environment where the weavers will get a subsidized, yarn from NSDC and various technical support from WSC, and export opportunities and export hand-holding, job by HEPC, so that the artisan, by sitting across in his home, he can able to reach out to the global market by engaging and taking the opportunities of various state as well as central government schemes, and our presence there. Coming back, as Dr. Toolika Gupta ji has already pointed out, there are a lot of exportable items available in Rajasthan, especially this cotton dari, cotton pattu, jamdani, and various these specialized skills or specialized clusters available and producing for both domestic and international market. And still, I'll say, India is the only country where handlooms is practicing. World's existence of more than 35 lakh handloom, more than 26 lakh handlooms presence only in India. That means we have presence of more than 75-80% commercially producing handlooms. So India being the only country where this handmade handloom product can be made for the luxury segment, and we can create a good niche market there in the global market. See, these are all, she also said the importance of these block printing of Rajasthan, like Bagru, Sanganir, as well as tie-and-dye block printing, and which has been recently taken over by screen printing. And screen printing technique they use, but they are trying to duplicate and then sell it as a block printing, trying to give deny the importance of the block printing. So the government agencies have to come and step in, that the real block printing is promoted, and that basically we need to, the consumers or the end market or the global buyers, they wanted very genuine product or authentic product. And for that, I think both state government and central government can step in and make sure that a very authentic handloom product is available for the luxury segment or the global market. And because of the duplication or like non-authentic product, the image of handloom is getting not taken into a very right perspective by the global buyers. And that we, as all the stakeholders have to come forward and to make a methodology to differentiate between the authentic product and the duplicates. Definitely, that is the only way to save these real artisans, because everyone aware that real handmade handloom product might be 4 times, 5 times costlier than the bulk produced items, and this kind of duplicates will kill the real value of the handlooms. So we must step in and protect the real artisans so that the business can be promoted all across the world. And these are all the handloom items which, along with the WSC of Jaipur, HEPC is in formation of new items, new ideas. And apart from, clothing, and handmade fabric also can be used out of natural fabric like linen, jute, hemp, and all those things. So these are all the photographs which recently, along with the tie-up of WSC, we try to promote for the international market. So which will give you an idea how these artisans can be given a chance to produce exportable product. And again, there are a lot of suggestions that apart from making for the domestic market, the color patterns of Rajasthan are very dark colors and very unique. And to get into a Western market or a color-specific market, market intervention, design interventions by various agencies is a requirement. And I hope organizations like NAFT or other organizations, good design institutes, craft institutes can get and handholding with the artisans to produce exportable fabric. Even in fact, HEPC is ready to be part of that seminar. Some way or other, we can sponsor or we can take part and share our expertise. And this is my contact number. So we are helpful for promoting any kind of handloom or especially handloom. Handicrafts also, of course, there is an organization, EPCH is there. We also can help along with the handloom, the handicrafts, handmade, or like any kind of artisan's product for the global market. We have more than 70 years of global marketing expertise. So we urge that the other government agencies, both state and central, can make use of our marketing expertise and contacts. And we are in touch with more than 7,000 global buyers. Our database have got more than 7,000 global buyers. So make use of that and then reach to the global market. So we are always helpful in organizing seminar along with any other organization. We can also be part of any workshop. We can also undertake any specific project along with any other designated state or central government agency for promoting the handlooms. And we can also take, joint projects and apply with the Ministry of Commerce or Ministry of Textile along with the state government agencies and in executing schemes or projects for welfare of the artisans.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sundar. And we will definitely connect and take this idea forward, and we have some work to do together going forward. So thank you for your presence. And now our next speaker is Ms. Rita Prem Hemrajani. She is Managing Director of National Handloom Development Corporation and IRPS officer of 1990 batch. She has been associated with Indian Railways for 3 decades and has served in various capacities and including Northern Eastern Railways, Western Railways, Central Railways, and was HR head for the second largest division of Indian Railways with approximately 35,000 employees. She has vast experience of field offices, policy programs in headquarters, IT and labor intensive programs, and she joined as Managing Director in Nhtc Limited, Ministry of Textiles with effect from January 2022. So we welcome you and over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Atulji. Good afternoon to all. We are now near afternoon. First of all, thanks to the team here who have organized this program, and I got to interact with the stalwarts in this field, learn some new things, share some insights. So before, without losing any time, I'll just tell briefly about what NHTC does. And NHTC has the mandate of distributing yarn, supplying yarn to the handloom weavers. And the government gives subsidy on that yarn, including the transport subsidy and the yarn subsidy. And this is given through DBT. So NHTC, in addition to supporting the weavers with this subsidy, also helps in price stabilization because we fix the cotton hang prices every month, and some of the state governments do take that as benchmark price for cotton hang yarn, and the weavers get yarn at a reasonable rate. And we also supply blended yarn to the weavers. Even some of the yarn is not covered under the subsidy scheme, but in the side we also supply acrylic, polyester, whatever yarn the weavers need as accessory for their handloom. On the side, we also supply dyes and chemicals, which is not a mandate of government, but because it helps weavers, we have added that to our diversification program. And we have not yet gone into product development or marketing for the weavers, but that's on our agenda. And right now we are struggling with increasing our reach to the weavers to supply yarn. So in Gujarat and Rajasthan, for example, now today we are talking about Rajasthan. So it was news to me that there are 30,000 weavers. I don't know if I understood it correctly. Are they all handloom weavers or they are also artisans? But that is a sizable number if that's a size of handloom weavers, because we have been trying to make inroads in supplying yarn to the weavers, and somehow we have not been able to cover them. So this year definitely we'll need help of Neha to help us reach the weavers. And for design intervention, there is a separate scheme of ministry, that is National Handloom Development Program, where through the weavers service centers, the ministry helps weavers in setting up looms, loom sheds, providing them accessories, providing them training. And we do look forward to interacting with Dr. Toolika or Ms. Archana in design intervention and helping the weavers set up new products. So now coming to our discussion today, from what one of the panelists said, that our export is 12% of GDP, that itself shows that we have a very good chain, right from supply of yarn to weavers to entrepreneurs to exporters, who are doing this job fabulously well. And what we need to do is further strengthen this. Yes, there are challenges in terms of the new generation not taking up this employment, but that is true for everywhere. A doctor's son doesn't want to be a doctor. Engineer's son doesn't want to be an engineer. So children have got that kind of freedom in all the fields, and so has this oldest profession also had that taste of freedom. And but there are a host of people who want to go back to the roots and work with these people, learn these arts. And some of the craft fairs that I have visited, I have seen the younger generation doing fabulously well. I mean, the kind of designs they create, the kind of work they are doing, entrepreneur spirit in them, it's really boosting our resolve to make sure that this field is definitely going to survive. And in terms of support, the government policies are definitely there, like Nhtc, I told you. Rajasthan, I saw, is doing a fabulous job in terms of fixing prices for handloom products and also buying from these artisans. I think that is one area where we can further strengthen if the weavers know of some assured source of income. Like KVIC has been given a single tender supply for premium bed sheets. So like that, if the handloom weavers also get that kind of support, I think it will add to their struggle to go across this sector and make it survivable. Then there is also a lot of social support coming from NGOs, because a lot of NGOs are working in this area, and they are doing design intervention. Fab India, for example, used to come to Weaver Service Center and learn designs, and now it is one of the beautiful chains of supporting these weavers. We definitely look forward to working with Neha for the work that she is initiating. And like Mr. Randhir Vikram Singh said, that this is a tourism and handloom are going hand in hand. Yes, it is our cultural legacy, and when people come to India, they look at these things as, yes, this is something peculiar to India. So we need to work towards it as a cultural legacy, and definitely we need to preserve it. And some of the challenges that we also have is the intervention of technology. I mean, handloom has to be handwoven. There is nothing that technology can do to change that, because it will be otherwise a power loom replacement. But for example, quality, how does one ascertain when I go to buy a sari, is it a handloom sari or not? So that is something like diamonds. A person buys it unless a person is connoisseur. He buys it on trust. So that is why I think the middlemen are gaining ground, because somewhere they are able to convince people that, yes, this is quality. So that marketing technique needs to be taught to the weavers, that how do they convince a person that, yes, this is the quality product that I am selling, what I am saying is what I am selling. Second thing is our legacy. Somewhere I feel our legacy is also our challenge, because for example, when we try to supply yarn to the weavers, they have been buying from certain traders, and obviously the mills that we register are good quality.
Ma'am, just a small intervention.
Yeah.
may we request, we will come back again to you. Dr. Mayaram has a meeting at 1, so can we take his comments first and then we come back?
Sure.
Thank you. So, sorry for this, but I would now request Dr. Arvind Mayaram, who is Economic Advisor to Honorable Chief Minister of Rajasthan and Vice Chairman of Rajasthan Economic Transformation Advisory Council, and the chief guest of the webinar, for his remarks. Just a brief introduction. He is a PhD in Finance, Certified Public-Private Partnership Specialist. Presently, he is an independent thinker, Economic Advisor to Chief Minister and Vice Chairman of CM's Rajasthan Economic Transformation Advisory Council. He is also Chairman of Cuts Institute of Regulation and Competition and not-for-profit think tank. And he has earlier held positions of Finance Secretary, Government of India, Special Secretary in the Ministry of Rural Development, Government of India. He has also been alternate governor for India on board of World Bank, ADB, and African Development Bank. He was India's finance deputy in G20 and BRICS. And he was on the board of Reserve Bank of India and Securities Exchange Board of India. He was India's chief negotiator for BRICS New Development Bank and Asian Infrastructure Development Bank, and co-chairman of the Framework Working Group of G20. He spearheaded the establishment of the framework for mainstreaming public-private partnership in India and designed the first PPP module for delivering infrastructure in rural areas. He was vice president of World Association of Investment Promotion Agencies and formed under the aegis of UNCTAD, UNIDO, FIAS, and MIGA. For 2 terms in early 2000, he has been an investment promotion expert with UNCTAD for several years, and his expertise in the area of PPPs is internationally acknowledged. In Rajasthan, he has held positions of Industry Secretary, Planning Secretary, and Commissioner Investment and NRIs. What an experience, sir. Honored to have you amongst us. Please, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. First of all, I must acknowledge that I have been deeply enriched by what I have heard today in this webinar. Very well presented arguments, and I'm very sure that many of these would then go into the policy formulation, which would help the sector grow. I just have to say a few things because much of it has already been said. First is that there is certainly not an awareness, and today's conversation also we have discussed, although we have touched upon employment or demographic dividend terms like these have been used, but ये awareness नहीं है कि total contribution इस sector का economy में क्या है, and this is direct and indirect quantification इसका नहीं हुआ है, and I think FICCI should take this initiative to try and quantify जो हैंडलूम सेक्टर है इसका इकोनॉमी में कंट्रीब्यूशन क्या है. एक बार जब इसको एक इकोनॉमिक कंट्रीब्यूटर की तरह देखेंगे इंस्टेड ऑफ लुकिंग एट इट एज टूरिज्म और हेरिटेज एंड अदर थिंग्स व्हिच इट इज एंड व्हिच इज इंपॉर्टेंट, but from the perspective of its future growth we will need to look at it as a economic contributor, and that to the GDP, and therefore इसका quantification बहुत जरूरी है. The other thing is that we need to now also become a little more careful, both in terms of our conversation, whether it is in discussion or whether it is in policy making, or even in terms of business, that we use the term handloom more carefully. अभी क्या है हमारे यहाँ पर handloom में जो power looms हैं, they have also been looked into it. We have seen that growth of power looms जो है वो इस तरह की हुई है कि अब 70% से ज़्यादा जो textiles हैं, Indian textiles, according to Ministry of Textile Statistics, come from power looms, and they often get confused with like Dr. Toolika Gupta was also mentioning that जो हमारे यहाँ हैंड प्रिंटिंग होती है जिसको हम क्राफ्ट्स के एरिया में देखते हैं उसमें इट इज नॉट नेसेसरी दैट वी आर नॉट एक्सक्लूडिंग पावर लूम्स फ्रॉम इट, चाहे वो उसको प्रिंटिंग में हो या इट कैन बी इन एनीथिंग एल्स. It is important, I would suggest, even from the perspective of the knowledge creation institutions like IICD, और स्किलिंग इंस्टीट्यूशंस जो मिसेस सुराना हेड करती हैं, जो इस पर्टिकुलर इसके अंदर, और those who are in business like Rajasthan Handloom Corporation or National Textile Corporation who are also represented here, they need to be more discerning. From short-term business perspective, it may be useful to turn a blind eye to it, but it does not help the sector at all. And we will need to be a little more careful about how we describe handloom in our discourse. एक चीज हमारे यहाँ पे और भी है जिसके बारे में यहाँ भी हमने डिस्कशन किया है, मिसेस सुराना ने भी उसको मेंशन किया था कि हमारे यहाँ पर हैंडलूम पार्क्स होने चाहिए. There is a lot of discussion on this. Actually, we get very enamored by this, and I'm not saying Mrs. Surana is very far from what is the general narrative, even within the government, that हम एक जगह पे अगर सबको लेकर आ जाएंगे तो हम वहाँ पर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर प्रॉपर प्रोवाइड कर सकते हैं, वहाँ क्वालिटी चेकिंग हो सकती है, वहाँ पर पैकेजिंग की फैसिलिटी क्रिएट कर सकते हैं. सो वी क्रिएट अ हैंडलूम पार्क. I think handloom park in itself is anathema to the sector in itself. Handloom primarily is decentralized production, and it has to remain decentralized production. अगर हम इसको centralize कर देंगे, इसको industrial production की तरह अगर हम इसको create बनाने की बात करेंगे, तो we will lose the essence of that. And we will see that very soon, as we are seeing in many craft sector, where machines are very freely being used and yet they are being called handicrafts. Furniture is a classic example. वहाँ पे हमारे this will get blurred, and perhaps the kind of mention we heard from Mrs. Surana about what is happening in Europe or in advanced economies where new kind of handicrafts are coming in, we will move into that era very quickly by killing the traditional crafts that we have known for centuries and which have lived with us for centuries. So my take on this will be, we must concentrate on how we can create value chains in a decentralized production mode. And these value chains would be important. I'm not denying that they will be important, but we will need to be in decentralized mode. And that is very critical and important. एक issue जो हमको देखना है वो which is very important from the perspective of its growth is that जो इसकी identity है, जैसे geographical indications की हमने बात की, Neha also mentioned, and I think government of Rajasthan has done quite a lot of work in this area. जो geographical indicator act आया था 2003 का, उसमें, and then after that 2015 में ऑल इंडिया हैंडलूम ब्रांड प्रमोशन का भी एक एफर्ट हुआ था. इनका इम्पैक्ट एक्चुअली बहुत नीचे तक नहीं हुआ है. जहां पे हम ज्योग्राफिकल इंडिकेटर देख भी लिए हैं, वहां उसका एनफोर्समेंट इज अ प्रॉब्लम, बिकॉज ज्योग्राफिकल इंडिकेटर की ओनरशिप इज नॉट विद द क्राफ्ट्स पर्संस, इट इज विद द गवर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट जिसने इनको ज्योग्राफिकल इंडिकेटर को लिया है, और दे डोंट हैव द bandwidth or wherewithal, and therefore we require many more organizations जो इनके साथ काम करते हैं, जो इस एरिया में सिविल सोसाइटी हैं या एनजीओज हैं या प्रोड्यूसर ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं, जो भी इनमें काम करते हैं, who will have to be watchdogs to ensure that जो ज्योग्राफिकल इंडिकेशन पैटर्न्स में आपके पास आए हैं उनको एनफोर्स किया जाए. बिकॉज आज भी इफ यू गो टू दिल्ली मार्केट फॉर इंस्टेंस, कोटा डोरिया के नाम पे आपको यूपी की पावर लूम्स के बहुत साड़ियां मिल जाएंगी, 200-250 रुपए के अंदर मिल जाती है, एंड दे सेल इट एज कोटा डोरिया एंड दैट्स बीइंग सोल्ड फ्रॉम शॉप्स. सो इट इज नॉट इफेक्टिव. खाली हमें पेटेंटिंग इज नॉट इफेक्टिव. What is important is there has to be a mechanism for ensuring that there is compliance to this. One more issue I think which we have to look closely is the economics of it. Economics ये है जो हम ये बात करते हैं कि और ये एक बहुत important ये बात हुई थी, I think डॉक्टर तुलिका ने ये रेज की थी कि प्राइसिंग जो है हमारे यहाँ पर वो there is no real pricing in this sense, because generally most of the time pricing is determined in a particular way, which means input cost, cost of finance, cost of labor, including labor, then managerial cost, overheads, marketing cost, etc. मिला के आप एक pricing करते हैं. वो handicrafts में हमारे यहाँ पर उस तरह की pricing नहीं हुई है, और इसलिए फिर ये जो बेचते हैं, मेरे हिसाब से जो the people who are making these products, which are the artisans जो हैं, वो उनकी प्राइसिंग तो एबिसमली लो है. इतनी लो है कि आपको 500 रुपए का जो एक ब्यूटीफुल शॉल, वुलन शॉल मिल जाएगा, जो बीकानेर एरिया में उर्मुल वालों के साथ मिलके जो बनाए हुए हैं, उसी को अगर आप सोमा में या किसी बड़े उसमें चले जाए शॉप में तो 2-2 हज़ार रुपए में मिलेंगे. तो the difference is huge, which means that इसके अंदर जो आर्बिट्राज है वो बहुत हाई है. And therefore, I think IICD could look at something which is important, which is economics of handloom or handicraft. And economics would mean, अगर हम major products को लेकर, starting from this point, that what is it which is the opportunity cost for the artisan. अगर artisan जाता है to for नरेगा work, उसको 200 रुपए रोज मिलते हैं 8 घंटे काम करने के लिए, वो भी जितना काम करता है, तो फिर उसको कितना पैसा मिलेगा अगर उसने 8 घंटे हैंडीक्राफ्ट या हैंडलूम पे काम किया. और अगर उसको उससे कम मिलता है तो वो ऑब्वियसली नरेगा के काम पे चला जाएगा, कंस्ट्रक्शन के काम पे जाएगा, बिकॉज द रिम्यूनरेशन और रिटर्न फ्रॉम दैट इज मच हायर. So I think it is important for us to start with this. What is it that we believe is a decent wage for a person in this sector? और अगर हम ये मानते हैं कि उसको कम से कम 15,000 रुपए 12,000 रुपए महीना मिलना चाहिए, तो अगर एक साड़ी की वीविंग करने में उसको 6 दिन 8 दिन लगते हैं, तो वो अगर एक महीने में 3 साड़ी बनाता है तो उस 3 साड़ी पे उसको 15,000 मिलना चाहिए. So unless we give that to him, so इसलिए costing has become important. I have just given you a very broad figure. Obviously 5,000 रुपए की साड़ी खरीदने वाले कब होंगे? So we need to improve the productivity. We have to improve the quality, output, etc. उसके ऊपर भी हमें काम करना पड़ेगा. लेकिन starting point ये होगा, अगर हम इनको नहीं चाहते कि ये move away करें from this sector, then we will need to have to work on what is the remuneration that they will get for 8 hours work in a day, which should be competitive with what they can get from the market outside. So this I think is very important. I am very proud to say that today the shirt I'm wearing has been produced by the Handloom Corporation. Neha, I must congratulate you. They're really beautiful shirts, which I bought from there. And this clearly shows that there can be a huge demand, especially in India, for handloom production or even block prints, etc., because of the climate. So 8 महीने हमारे यहाँ गर्मी पड़ती है, और उसके अंदर these clothes are the most comfortable ones. So we will have a lot of demand. The Handloom Corporation has been doing a great job. I hope they will continue to do work in this area, and they will also have they would be able to reinvent themselves. This is very important and critical. कोई ना कोई किसी तरह से रिवाइवल प्लान बनना चाहिए. IICD में I'm very happy to see how far it has reached. I had the privilege of being associated with it right in the beginning at the nascent inception stage, and it has come a long way. It is doing a great job, but I think a little more application on the way in which we can work on economics of handicrafts would be also keen. Students should also learn that part. I'm sure they must be teaching, but I mean, I'm not aware of it, but if they are not, I'm sure they would be able to look at it. My final 4 points are: the need today is, 1, to have a relook on policy and regulation. And this policy and regulation should be revised, reviewed, relooked at in close conversation with the stakeholders and all of them to make it more relevant, but which also is developmental in approach. So regulation से हम ज़्यादातर ये समझते हैं कि ये restrict करने के लिए है, control करने के लिए, but regulation actually is also developmental. And if you have good regulations, the sector can grow very fast and very rapidly. So we need to have a separate conversation on policy and regulation. Perhaps Handloom Corporation and FICCI can have another webinar which is just dedicated to policy and regulation, which analyzes the existing policies and sees how we can change them to make it better. Second part is a real mapping of infrastructure requirements. So I'm saying mapping because I'm not saying कि infrastructure development इस आज की तारीख आज करें, लेकिन हमारे पास एक architecture होना चाहिए infrastructure का कि infrastructure इसको बढ़ाने के लिए कैसा होना चाहिए. For instance, design should be part of, design infrastructure is part of that infrastructure. Market infrastructure, which includes e-commerce, linkages to e-commerce is part of that infrastructure. The support infrastructure like packaging, insurance, quality, this is all part of that infrastructure. So I'm talking of infrastructure in a bigger form, but we need a complete architecture. Everything should be interconnected. Independently, a lot of things are done, but we are not looking at it in an integrated manner. Third is financing. I think financing is critical. There are a lot of financing, kind of programs and initiatives that the government has taken for MSMEs, etc. But we need to look at specific needs of the craft sector. And in craft sector, we have to drill down more specifically to different type of crafts, and we need to look at what is in the handloom sector, or if it is printing, etc. If it is furniture, each one of them would have different requirements, and these should be looked at carefully so that the linkages can be made with financing for these, for it to grow. And fourth, of course, is capacity building, which is training and other kind of activities that need to go into this. So this is all I have to say. Thank you very much for inviting me, and I have thoroughly enjoyed being here with you. I'm sorry I had to leave a little early because there's another meeting at 1 o'clock. So if you will excuse me, I'd like to leave now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And thank you for staying right through the program. And we will continue for a while. You can stay till the time it's comfortable, sir. And we is saying something, sir?
No, I said I'll have to go because it's already 1:10.
Okay.
So I'll leave. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your presence.
And thank you, Neha. Thank you, Neha, for inviting me. Bye.
Thank you. Now, coming back to Madam Hemrajani ji, ma'am, you would like to continue from where we left?
Yeah, just now almost the end of the session. So I was talking about technological interventions, that this sector doesn't have much of technological intervention, not the production part of it, but yes, the certification or some knowledge sharing has to be with the customer to make him realize what actually handloom is. Like people who are buyers are mostly in urban areas, and the production happens in the hinterland in rural areas. People don't really understand how difficult it is to produce a handloom product. And if they get some touch and feel, I think that makes a handloom product more desirable. And towards that end, I have been working on a book in which I will be putting samples like this of handloom and a small write-up so that a person can touch and feel like what each handloom from across India looks like. This is a book in the making. And secondly, our new generation has different kind of tastes. The sari that I am wearing is a banana bark sari from the thread of banana bark, but the design is something that I would love to wear, but not my daughter. So we need to think about how to connect the next generation. They have a lot of money, we have given them good inheritance. So they have the buying capacity, but they will buy only if they like it. So we have to start thinking as an 18-year-old when we create design. So Ranamal Khatri ji, आपको youngsters को जोड़ के और कुछ इस तरह की डिजाइन्स क्रिएट करनी पड़ेगी जो बच्चों को देखते ही पसंद आए. और आपकी अजरक की प्रिंट्स मैंने मशरू सिल्क और मोडाल सिल्क पे पहनी हुई है. One of the fabulous clothes that we have. I think the people staying in western part of India, because of the hot summer, this is the best cloth that has been produced, but unfortunately it has not been popularized so much. And the youngsters, especially now with the work from home thing coming in, I think this is a good cloth that can be encouraged to the younger generation. Third thing I want to talk about the weavers is for almost 100 days in a year they are unemployed because of weather conditions. Like in south during rainy season the silk thread breaks, or summer season it is hot, so their productivity becomes less. So during that time we need to work out something for the weavers so that they remain employed throughout the year. And with these words, I think I have consumed my 10 minutes, and we look forward to working with the Rajasthan government because that is my area of focus. And we want to increase our yarn supply. Primarily, we have been convincing weavers that if you get 15% subsidy in 7 cycles of your yarn, your capital cost is out. And plus government also gives them transport subsidy, so they get yarn at the mill gate price. With that, I think we should be able to motivate the weavers to take quality yarn. Secondly, Rajasthan, I think, doesn't have a Apex Corporation. Apex Cooperative, we have 19 states from where the Apex Cooperatives take the yarn from us for distribution to the weavers. So Neha can also think of creating that if it is not there. If it is there, then maybe they can start taking quality yarn for the weavers. With that, I thank you all for having invited me. And one request, please share the phone numbers of the participants so that we remain in touch for future cooperation with them.
Definitely, ma'am. We will share and we will invite you for a physical program shortly in Jaipur.
I intend to come there, but because the season is such that I won't be able to contribute much. So I am waiting for a better season.
Maybe I would request Ms. Neha Giri if she wants to make some comments before we invite Mudrika Dhoka ji. Ma'am, would you like to say something?
I would like to say that as ma'am has said, and as we had we were already planning within design development come a show and display of different hand block and handloom of Rajasthan, ma'am. We were planning on a project that we have a 2 days convention here in Jaipur itself, but we want you also to be there. So we'll take your consent and we'll plan accordingly. Because
tentatively when it is planned?
Ma'am?
Tentatively, when is the schedule?
Ma'am, we are planning in maybe after a month or so.
Okay.
Because yes, ma'am. So we'll take, ma'am. We'll have a discussion after this, and we'll take your consent regarding this. Because ma'am, this virtual session, we just having a preliminary ice breaking and just have a on the surface we are discussing, but then in depth and in a deep session, I think, ma'am, that can only be possible. And meeting also the weavers. Because right now we have only one weaver present here. There are lots of weavers who have done well, lots of weavers in different, I would say, economic status also. They have their own problems. And ma'am, is to have a face-to-face conversation with them. So ma'am, that would be I would say that.
In fact, we conduct exhibitions also where we ask viewers to put up their stalls, and the government doesn't charge them for the stall and pays them TADA every day for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We have those exhibitions, handloom only. So if something of that sort helps, then we can maybe plan one exhibition in Rajasthan. And then we also have buyer-seller meet where the weavers get to meet with the yarn suppliers. So we invite the weavers as well as the yarn suppliers. So if that also helps during that seminar, then we can keep that on the side also. And we also do dissemination camps for the weavers where we tell them about the programs, this yarn supply scheme, how they can take. I don't know if the weavers there all have weaver passbook or not, but that also we can consider during that time. If they don't have, maybe we can, because there we need a lot of help from state government to enroll the weavers and issue them passbook and their verification of looms and all that. So yes, we look forward to long cooperation with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Definitely, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. And now I would request Ms. Mudrika Dhoka, Chairperson, Jaipur Chapter of FICCI Ladies Organization, for her remarks. She has recently taken over, so congratulations on being elected as Chairperson for the Flow Jaipur Chapter, a very vibrant chapter. And just a brief introduction: born and brought up in US and done her MBA there, then became part of the Chandra Group family. Now she leads the events and advertising vertical for the group along with her husband, and she has anchored and done many flagship events involving Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Chief Minister. In fact, she was involved with this IPD Tower inauguration just held 2 days back. So welcome you, and over to you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for calling me on this platform. Wonderful insights and trade discussions by Neha ma'am. Thank you, Neha ma'am, for giving the background and the essence of handloom. Gupta ma'am for sharing information. Archana ji for sharing the importance of design aspect and preserving the craft in the youth. Ranamal ji for who is the actual brand ambassador of the trade, Ms. Rita for her valuable remarks, and Dr. Arvind for the crucial outlook for the future growth, and of course, Mr. Atul and Mr. Randhir for the pillars, who are the pillars of this initiative. If I may speak on the consumer aspect, as I represent the largest women organization of Rajasthan, FICCI Flow, and as a marketing aspect, because I am the director of our group's advertising and events division, I would just like to give a very simple case study, if I may. So very recently, H&M and Sabyasachi tied up. Okay, on the first day when the tie-up was announced, everything was sold out. Everything. They spoke about the Indian trade. They spoke about how the design aspect of India is highlighted in this collaboration. So why, as a department, can't we do something similar to promote our designs, to promote this trade, which is eco-friendly? I know as a mother, I have a 16-year-old daughter. She'll go to H&M, she'll go to Zara, and she'll buy this patawa kapda on a conscious aspect that, mom, this is conscious buying. Okay, I need to be more eco-friendly. When our craft is the actual conscious buying that we're talking about, but we are not actually promoting it. We are not. I feel that, you know, through the aspect of social media, through the aspect of actually marketing it on a platform which is proper. Why don't we do collaborations? FICCI Flow would be honored and willing to do any kind of a collaboration with the department to promote the craft, to promote it on a level and to market it. I feel, yes, the livelihood of the people involved are essential. The craft, preserving the craft is essential, but all of this contributing to GDP, of course, all of this that everyone spoke about is essential. But at the same time, unless and until we market it to that level where it can reach the masses, that we can talk about how a woman sitting in, a small town of Kota that is her livelihood, getting that emotional touch to this craft is essential, and that is where I feel that if we do this, we can actually, you know, kind of multifold the efforts that all of you are putting into this trade On this remark, I would really like to thank everyone for joining us, and hopefully in a collaboration together in this initiative, we can do wonders. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mudrika ji. And with this, we come to the close of the webinar. It could have continued, but we are feeling that we have a lot to discuss, but time is less. But thank you to all the speakers, participants, and this is just the beginning. We will continue the dialogue forward in times to come and seek support from all of you. And thanks to Ms. Neha Giri, the CMD of RSDC, for the idea and taking it to this level. So thank you.